All right, so welcome back. So U.S. foreclosure activity continued to increase despite government's moratorium. So this is another report here. I don't know if you watched my previous video on the 1 million delinquencies. Okay, so there's a little difference between delinquency and foreclosure, right? Okay, so let me explain the difference. Okay, when a person stopped making their mortgage payment, okay, about 3 months later, is considered delinquent, right? It depends on what state you live in. For some states, 30 days later, that's 30 days delinquency, right? But the idea that it's now noted that you're late on your payments, that's what you call delinquencies, right? Now, foreclosure is a little bit different. Foreclosure is actually when you start, it starts kind of like at the point where you start the legal proceedings of taking over the collateral of the loan, the mortgage loan, which is the house, right? So for every time a mortgage note is every time a mortgage is created on a house, a promissory note, which is the mortgage note, was created. And the point of that mortgage note stands as some form of surety that this house represents what you owe us, and we're gonna come and take this house if you don't pay us. So in New Jersey, it takes about 11 months before the foreclosure process actually starts. Everything before that is considered pre-foreclosure. Some people consider that lease pendants, right? So now they're saying foreclosure activity continues to increase, right? So there's some delinquencies. Another report, it's a little different. We see all different kind of reports. Now, I think it depends on where they're sampling the data from. Because again, in the United States of America, there's literally 50 states. So things vary from places to place. But this report shows that there are a total of 33,000 US properties with foreclosure filings. Okay, these are new filings. So at the point where they filed the foreclosure, not the pre-foreclosure, the pre-foreclosure is filed in New Jersey at around 3 months. In Texas, I think it's a lot quicker than that. The foreclosure happens very quick, in 90 days in Texas. In New Jersey, it can take up to a year, 10 months to a year, right? It varies from places to places, okay? But again, just like I said earlier, all right? Sadly, this is opportunities, okay? One of the first websites that my mentors really introduced me to as far back as late 2005 was this website right here, realtytrack.com. It's been there forever. Now there are many other sites now where you can get foreclosure listings for free. As a matter of fact, you can check out EmpireBigData.com. That's what we use to get access to not just foreclosures, but also many other types of listings like vacant houses, pre-foreclosures, obviously, but non-owner occupied, meaning it's a landlord, right? Most landlords eventually will be tired, right? Because it's usually not worth it. I'm not talking about landlords of an apartment complex. I'm talking about landlord of a two-family house, right? A lot of time, those people find out that it's not worth the amount of time that they put in. Like whatever cash flow they get, maybe $300, $200, a lot of times negative, right? It's not worth the amount of time involved in babysitting tenants, right? So you have what we call tired landlords, and the way to get access to tired landlords is to have access to a list of non-owner occupied properties. Okay, you can access all of that at you can see the link in the bottom of in the description area. But the point here is that Realty Track these are extremely valuable websites, right? But they also take note of how many foreclosures are being filed, how many foreclosure filings are happening. Like you see here, 33,000. Okay, this is the news from April, so it's a little bit old. But like I said in the previous video, that number has kind of declined, not necessarily because things are better, but because of the forbearance in place, right? The forbearance, the moratoriums that the policies that the government put in place. But those numbers are about to spike up again, right? The report also shows a total of 11,880 US properties in March. Okay, this was from March, up 5% from the previous month, but down 75% from March 2020. So it was down. Remember again, I said when you compare it to last year, because of the pandemic, it's down. But when you compare it to the previous month, it's supposed to, let's see here. Okay, so it's up here. So again, there's a difference between foreclosure filings and delinquencies, right? Regardless, foreclosure is more so a lagging indicator, a certain percentage of delinquencies. Not all delinquencies will turn to foreclosure, right? Some people will be delinquent and they'll catch up on their payment. Those people sometimes will be in your marketing pieces, right? It is what it is. When you market, when you learn the marketing skill sets that we share here on this platform, when you learn those marketing skill sets, a lot of the money you're gonna make is gonna come from referrals. Okay, so somebody found one of your marketing pieces either because they clicked on something on on the internet, or because they got a postcard or something, whatever, right? Or a text message, right? They got your marketing message. Sometimes it's not them in particular that will find your services useful, which is, what's your services? You help them avoid foreclosure, right? By taking away the property and give it to somebody else, and you make a little 10, 15, $20,000 in between, right? Again, just marketing skill set, right? So some people will see that marketing message and they'll remember somebody else, right? But the bottom line here is this, is that these numbers are going to spike. These numbers are coming back up, and it is what it is. So the foreclosure volume is going to spike because of what it is. It's just the nature of when, again, you print money, although the government had not much choice than to, again, put these policies in place to slow down the economy deteriorating all the way to ground zero. So you may have been receiving free checks at home and stuff like that. Understand that in order for the market to come back to a market economy, a healthy economy, somebody have to spend money, okay? You're not just going to be taking money from the government. At some point, people have to spend money, right? So how you spend money, how you position yourself between now and then is really key. And one of the best ways to position yourself is to be in a position to be on the other side of the equation when some people will be losing their property, sadly, okay? But you will be saving the society at large if you're able to save some of this property from going to foreclosure, because there is no city that likes to see high numbers of foreclosure filings. There's no city, it doesn't exist, all right? Most cities likes to keep it low. You see high foreclosure usually indicates that it's a lot of slums, usually indicates that it's a lot of people moving out, indicates that people are not doing well, people are not prospering in that city. That's what it indicates, right? So if you're able to save some of those houses from going to foreclosure, and you're able to pass some of those property over to people that can use them, you're actually doing a service to the society, okay? So don't think of it as you're taking advantage of people in foreclosure. Think of it as they just couldn't afford it. They're probably better off not holding on to assets that they cannot afford, and you're positioned in a place where you can help them. And I cannot tell you how many times people fall to their knees and say thank you, because this was becoming such a headache, okay? So I just wanted to make sure I point that out to you, that this is not all the way bad news. It is what it is. It's just what it is. It's something that we've taken advantage of for so long, not of the people, but of the situation. It's a problem. You find solution, you're helping humanity. And I don't want to speak too highly of that. Like, this is not some kumbaya stuff. I'm just keeping it real with you, that that's just how economy works. Goods will exchange hands, money will exchange hands, and the people in between that make all the money all day long. And this is an example of an opportunity.